In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up the premium theme. So if you want to change your store theme and you have purchased the premium theme for your store, or you want to purchase the premium theme for your store, the first thing you have to do is you navigate to the add-on services section here, and then you find the option that says premium theme. So you go ahead and select it. In the premium themes page, you can see a description of the features you get with the theme. And then we can also look at demos. So these are the various demos of the theme. So for example, if we open this, we can see a demo of the theme for electronic store. So you can see the demo here. And we can also check the others to see the demo of the kind of stores that we can create using the premium theme. So when you are ready to activate the premium theme, you can go ahead and click on this button here. So note that the premium theme is not a free theme, but currently, because there is a promo, you can easily use it for your store. So if you want to activate the theme, you can either click this activate button here, or you scroll down and click it here. So while scrolling the page, you also notice that the activation button is here as well. So note that after we activate the theme, your current theme will no longer be active. What that means is that you lose your current theme settings. So take note of that when ordering the premium theme. So let's go ahead and activate it. To do that, we come here and click on the activate theme button. So clicking this button, you can see a message confirming if you still want to proceed with the process. So if you are ready to activate the theme, you go ahead and click on the activate button here. Alright, so you can see that it says premium theme has been activated. Note that if the theme is activated, you will no longer, as I said earlier, have your existing theme settings, as it will be deleted. So, but what we have to do now that we've activated the theme is to proceed to set it up. So this is the premium theme settings page. Note that once you activate the theme, you can always come back to this page by navigating to the store management section, select settings, and then select themes. You will notice in the themes set section, you can see that the premium theme option has been added here. So currently we can proceed to set up the theme by clicking the edit button here. All right. So if we have multiple store, you see that we also have the option to set up the various stores for either the premium theme option or the standard theme option. So now that we have activated the premium theme, we can proceed to set it up. So in the premium theme settings section here, you see that we have various options. The first section allows us to set the theme layout. So currently we have only one layout, that is the Ronixa layout. We can enable or disable it. So once we have set the layout, we can proceed to save it. So after we have set the theme layout, we now have the option to adjust the theme settings below here. So the first option allows us to set the general settings. The second option allows us to set the theme storefront template. The mega menu allows us to set the team main menu option. We can also manage the newsletter subscribers. So if we had set the team newsletter module, we can view the subscribers using this option. All right. We can create blog posts that will show in the storefront team. We can also add HTML content to the team design. So if we want to add any HTML content to any of the pages in the storefront, we can use this option. We can create pages for the team. So we'll get to all these sections later. And then we can also adjust the page layout for the team using the layout designer option. So let's start with the general settings. If we open the general settings, you see that it shows us a list of stores that we have. Currently, we have just one store. So if we click on the edit button here, so this will open the general settings for that specific store. So this is the team general setting for the default store. So you see that in the team settings, we have all these sections. We have the header, the footer, the layout, the typography, custom CSS, JavaScript. We can change the theme color. We can also add mobile bottom navigation bar. We can add promo pop-up, set social icons that will show, and also set the product page design using this option. So we'll come back to this later after we have set the templates that we are going to use for the storefront pages. So let's close this. So note that once you activate the premium theme, the first thing you have to do is to choose a template. So if we click on this templates option, you see that we have various templates that we can use as our store theme. So let's say, for example, we sell electronics, we can use the electronic template. Or if we have maybe a multi-purpose store, we can use the big shop. If you sell furnitures or something that has to do with fittings and designs, you can use the home decor template. If you sell food or you're into, things that has to do with restaurant services, you can use this template. You can also use the other template. So, but this law firm template is mainly for services. So if you have a service-oriented business, you can use this template as your store front theme. So let's say, for example, we want to set the electronic template as our storefront theme. So we go ahead and select it. The next thing we do is we click on the continue button. So in this section, we have the option to choose to import demo content. So we can import demo products, categories, pages, and blogs. So for this example, let's go ahead and tick it. Since this is not an existing store, as if we already have existing products in the store, note that selecting this may delete your existing product. So if you don't have that, or if you are worried about it, you can always unselect it. But for this example, we'll select it. So once we choose all the options, we go ahead and click on the import button to import the templates as our storefront theme. So let's go ahead and click on it. All right, so now we have imported the template. We can proceed to close this page. So after importing the template, take note that we have to ensure that the premium theme has been set as our store the front theme. So to do this check, we navigate to the store management section, select settings, and then select stores. So we are going to check our store general setting to see if that is active. So we select it. In the general section here, we scroll down, you can see that in the storefront theme option, the premium theme is set as our active theme. So if we want to switch back to the standard theme, we must come back to this page and then select the standard theme. But if we don't do that, the store will continue to use the premium theme as the storefront theme. So once we check and we are okay with this setting, we go ahead and save. So now that we have set our storefront theme, remember we had imported the electronic template. So what we do next is we check the storefront end to see. So let's go ahead and click on this. So you can see that our storefront, the template that we have selected is now active, as you can see here. This is the electronic template that we chose earlier as our storefront theme. So these sections can be modified. We can change all this if we want to do that, remove and change any of the contents to add our own banners and logos and, layout. So the next thing we are going to do, now that we have set the theme, we can then proceed to change the logo. So to change this logo, we go back to the admin panel. In the store management section, we select settings, we select stores, and then we select images here. So this is where we'll now change the logo. So I'll go ahead and choose this as my logo, change the icon, and then once we are okay with this, we save. So now that we've saved, let's go back to the storefront, refresh the page. So you can see that the logo has been updated. So the next thing we are going to do is we'll go back to the theme general settings. So we go to settings, themes, we select the store under the premium theme section. And then we select general settings. So we are going to change the color. So let's say we want to change the blue colors flavor. We come to styles and colors here. Select the primary color option. Let's say we change it to red. All right. For the secondary color, we can change it to pink. Okay. So once we make this change, we can save. So once we save, let's come back to the storefront. Let me remove this and refresh the page. So you can see that the color has changed to red. So the primary color is now red. Okay. See that it's red. So we can also change the header layout. So the header design and the footer. So let's say we want to change this section. To do that, we come here under header section here. Let's say we change it to this option. So we select this and then we save. So once you save, if we come back and refresh the page, so you see that the header section has been updated. So we also have the option to choose any of these other ones. If we don't even want any header, we can select this. But for this example, we leave it as this header design. So for the footer, we can come here. If we scroll down, you see that our footer section is active. So we have the option to choose between the advanced HTML content, select none, or we choose predefined footer. So let's say, for example, we want to change this to use the predefined footer option. So we select it and then we save. All right, so once we save, come back here, we refresh the page. You see that the footer design has changed to the predefined footer option. All right, so let's take it back to the advanced HTML content option. Note that once we select this option, we must choose the actual HTML content that we are going to show here. So for this example, we have a pre-designed footer here that we can use. So let's go ahead and select it. And then we save. So now that we've saved, if we come back here and refresh the page, so you see that our previous design is now active. Okay. So this is basically how you can change the header and footer design options using these sections. So for the layout, take note that we can change the default home page. Maybe if we don't want it to open this page, if you don't want it to open this page when the user loads the home page, we can change the default home page using these options. We can also adjust the site width design if we want to make it fluid or just make it as a container option. Then we also have the option to adjust the border radius of the boxes. So these boxes that we have, we can change the border radius using these options. And the same thing we can do for the button. Can do that as well here. For the typography section here, we can change the font type that we are using. So if we select this, we have the option to choose any of the fonts here. This will change the storefront font that is being used. We can also adjust the font size, font color, and then the text line height if we want to do that. So note that this is basically for the text for the storefront pages. So we have it for the header and then the title section. We can do the same. We can have different fonts for the title, the header, and then the main page content. All right. So we can adjust that using these options. So take note that currently if we have only the English language. So if we have other languages installed, we can make the adjustments as well based on the various languages that are available. So let's proceed. The next section here, CSS, custom CSS. So this is an advanced section. This allows you to implement advanced modification to the storefront theme design. So if you are familiar with CSS, you can add your CSS code here to any of these sections to adjust the storefront design. The custom JavaScript, that's the custom JS section, allows us to insert JavaScript code into the theme storefront pages. So this section is also for advanced users. We have already covered the styles and colors. As I said, we can change the primary, secondary color, the page background color, page background secondary color using this section. We can also activate the mobile button navigation bar. So let me use an example of, let's say we switch this page, we close this, let's switch this page to a mobile view. So in the mobile view of this page, you can see that we have a navigation bar at the bottom of this page. So the mobile bottom nav bar is where we set the various menu options that will show in this navigation bar. So if I come here and let's say I disable these options and then save. All right, so when we refresh this page, you see that this navigation bar will no longer be visible. So let's refresh the page. All right, you see that the navigation bar is no longer there. So let's go back and then enable it. So once we enable this bar, we can change the buttons, that's the menus. So let's save again so that you can see. So if we come back here and say we refresh it, so you see that we can change these menus that are visible here. So if we come to this section, you see we have the My Account, which is this one, Wish List, which is this, Compare, and Cart. So let's say we want to change these buttons. So we remove all of them. For the first one, we can choose, let's change it to Wish List. So the second one, we call it Products. All right. Choose an icon. So let's say we choose the menu icon. Sorry, the list icon. Okay. And then for the second one, we say, let's just leave it as it is. So we are only adding button 1, which is this, right? For the second one, we choose Cards, and then we choose My Account. So once we make this change, we go ahead and save. All right, so after we've saved, let's refresh the storefront. So you can see that once we refresh the storefront, the footer menu that we just set is now visible here. So take note that we didn't add a link to this menu. So, but to add a link, you can come back here, select button 1, right? So change this to, let's say we change this to an actual page link. We say store tests. All right, so once we do this and save, so coming back here and refreshing this page, so you see that when we click on this, it will open the home page of the store. All right, so that's what it has done, as you can see here. So this is an example on how you can use the mobile button navigation bar, right? So the next section, called the promo pop-up, allows us to add pop-up windows to the storefront pages. So currently the pop-up type is set as predefined pop-up. That's promo pop-up. We can change this from predefined promo pop-up to advanced HTML content. So the advanced HTML content allows us to choose HTML content to choose from the list of HTML content that we have created in the HTML content section. So currently there's an existing design that we can use called subscribe pop-up to. So we select it. Once we select it, we can use this option to hide it from mobile pages. If we select no, that means it will show on mobile pages. We can also change the pop-up width, adjust the time that it will show, delay, version. So note that anytime you make an adjustment to these pop-up settings, you must change the pop-up version. So if it's in version 1, so for the changes we make to be visible in the storefront, we have to change the version. So let's put it as 2 here. All right. So we can also set this so that it waits, so that it will show after a number of page visits. So for this example, we leave this as 0. So once we make all the adjustments, we go ahead and save. So now that we've saved, let's close this. If we refresh this page, you see the pop-up. All right, so you can see this is the pop-up for the advanced HTML content. So this is the content here. Note that we can adjust this content, as I said earlier, by navigating to the HTML content section. So the next option here allows us to add and adjust the social icons that will show in the storefront. So for the example of the social icons, you can see it here. So we have the social icons here. You can see them here. So we can adjust the icons if we want to change it. You can add new icons. Select the, let's say we want to add another social network link. Let's say we want to add Telegram. You can select it here, this Telegram logo, add your title, and then add the link. All right. So the last option here allows us to set the product page design. So if for example, we want to change the product list design, like if we come here, you see that this is the current design we have for the product. So if we want to change this design, we can come to this section and choose another design from the list. This other section allows us to change the product page design. So let's say if we open this page, so we can change this design. Currently it's set as this. That's why it's showing here. So let's say if we change this to, let's say this, and then we save, you see that this design will automatically be updated once we refresh the page. So you see that it has been updated. So currently, if we go back to the product section, see that this design is now active, right? The same thing applies. We said we can change the product list design. So let's say we open, let's go back. So let's say we open the category page. Let's open this. So we can change this design, as we said. You can see the design here. So if we come here and change this and then save. So if we refresh this page, you see that the design has been updated, as you can see here. So that's the current design that we are using now. So this is how you can use the various options that are available in the general settings section to adjust the storefront theme. So we also have the option to set the footer. So this footer section above allows us to set the copyright layout section. So this section at the bottom currently is set as using 2 columns. That's why you are seeing this text divided. And you can see that in both columns we have the contents. So this is the first content, and then we have the second content. So we can change this. Let's say we can disable it or change layout if we want to make adjustments to it. And then once we make any adjustments, we save. All right. So this is an example on how we can use this general settings section using all the options that are available to adjust the storefront theme settings. All right. So we've already looked at the templates section. The next section we are going to look at is the mega menu section. All right. The mega menu section allows us to set the menus that will show in the storefront pages. So currently we have 2 menu options that were created. We have the main menu list, and then we have the mega menu list. So these are just examples of menus that you can use. So currently the main menu list, if we click on the edit button here, you see that we have options that we can use to set the menus that will show here. So currently this menu is being used in the storefront. This is the menu here. You see we have the shop, we have the blog, we have the pages, and then we have the contact. So let's say, for example, we want to remove any of this menu. Let's say we want to remove the blog menu. We come here, we click on the delete button here, and then save. So once we save, if I refresh this page, you see that this menu will no longer be visible. All right, so you see that it's no longer there. If we want to add a new menu to this list, we can come here. So we go ahead and edit it. In this section, we choose the custom menu option. We click on the add. We say this is a test menu. We save it. So once you save it, it's here. So we go ahead and drag it into this section. All right. So once we drag it here, we can proceed to edit it. So we choose the option that says open link, but if we want it to open to a specific section on the same page, we select the smooth scroll. So, but for this example, we want it to open another page. So we choose the open link, come to the storefront. Let's say we want it to open this product. We select this product. So in the product page, we choose the link, we add it here. So we leave this other option as it is. So we are not adding any subcategory. If we want to add an icon, we can come here and add it. So let's say we add this as an icon and then save. So once we save that, we also have to save the menu. So we click on save here. So after we save, we come back to the storefront. We refresh the page. So you can see that once we refresh the page, you can see that the new menu we added is now visible here. So clicking on it, let's say we go back to the storefront. And then in the storefront page, if we click on this menu, so let's go ahead and click it. it will automatically open the product page, as you can see here. So take note that we had set the menu link using this option. All right. So we also have the option to add subcategory. So if we want to add a subcategory, note that we have to also choose the HTML content that will show. So let's say, for example, we select blog, right? And then save the menu. If we come back to the storefront, if we refresh the page, you see that the drop down menu will now be visible here. You can see that this is the blog HTML content that is showing as a drop down menu for this main menu. So if we come back again and let's say we remove it and save. So you see that when we refresh this page, drop down menu will no longer be there. As you can see, it's no longer there. So this is an example on how you can use the mega menu. Note that you can create additional menus by clicking on the add button here. Put the name of your menu and then add all the necessary menus you want here and then save. So the next option, as we said, is about newsletter subscribers. If you check the page, sometimes you might see that a newsletter module has been added, either at the footer section or as a pop-up window. So when a customer subscribes for newsletter, if we open this subscriber section, you see the list of newsletter subscribers email, and you can use the options here. Let's say you want to add, you can manually add an email if you want to do that. All right. So basically, we have the option to even delete any of the emails if we have any here. So let's say, for example, we add one. If we want to add one, you can do that. So adding one, you see that it's here now. So this allows us to send a newsletter mail to all the newsletter subscribers. So let's go back. All right. So the next section called blogs. Remember, if we come to the storefront page, let's go to the home page. So you see that we have an option here at the bottom. You see that there are some blog posts that are available here. So let's open one of the blog posts. So this is a sample blog post. Since this is a sample content, we can add additional blog posts. Let's say we go to the blog section. We can add additional blog posts that will show in this section. To do that, we come back to the premium theme settings section. We select blogs. So here is where we can view the list of blogs. So if we come to the blog option here, you see the list of sample blogs we have. So if we want to add a new blog, that will show here. In the post section, you click on the add button here. So here we call this, we say test blog post. Enter the content. Say this is a test blog post. Put the mega title. We leave all this other option as it is optional. In the data section, we choose the author, we choose the category. We can also select related posts, and we can add related products if we want to do that. So once we add all this, we go to the image section. So let's add a sample image. You can leave this section as it is optional. So once we add all these sections, note that we can also embed a YouTube video or any of these other options, HTML or Vimeo. So let's say, for example, we are not embedding any video. We can add additional images if we want to do that, but for this example, we'll leave it as it is. So after we've set the blog content, you click on the save button. So you see that once it's saved, you see that the blog post is now active. So we can proceed to enable it by clicking the approve button here. So now if we go back to the blog section and refresh the page in the storefront, you see that the new blog post we added is visible here. So we can open it. So opening it, you can see this is our blog. So note that you can add and delete any of the blogs by clicking the delete button here. So the next section under this blog section is where we can adjust the post categories. Currently we have just 3. We can add more by clicking the add button. The about author section is where we can set the author information. So if you want to add a profile image for the author, the first name, note that the author will always show here, as you can see. So any content we add will show under the about author section in the blog page. So once we set necessary contents we want, we can go ahead and save. So the next section called author allows us to see the list of blog authors we have. We can enable and disable any of the blog author accounts by using this button. Currently we have just this account that is enabled. So these accounts are basically the admin panel user accounts. So currently we have just 2 user accounts. That's why you are seeing it here. If we have more user accounts, you see that we have the option to set the other user account as well as blog authors. The review section, this is where we can view the list of reviews made by blog readers. So if a blog reader leaves a review, we can come here and approve it. So we also have the option to moderate the comments made on posts. So if we enable the comments section, the blog readers can leave comments, and these comments will show here to enable us approve or disapprove it. The widget section, this is an important section because it allows us to add widgets to the blog page layout. So for example, we have about 3 widgets that we can use. We have the blog categories, recent blog posts, blog post tags. So these are sample widgets that we can add. To create a new widget, you click on the add button here. So I'll show you how to add this widget. So for example, if we want to add the blog categories widget to show in the blog page in storefront, we go ahead and close this window. We navigate to the layout designer section here. In the layout designer section, we proceed to choose the retrainer blog post page, right? Here we scroll down to check if we can find the retrainer blog widget. So this is it here. So we want to add the blog category to this page. So we go ahead, add it to the right column. So after we add it to the right column, the next thing we do is we save. So once we save, if we refresh the page, you see that the widget is now active here. as you can see. So if we come back to the blog section, remember we can create additional widgets by clicking on the add button. So this will allow us to define the kind of widget we want, the kind of content it will show, and then we can even define custom CSS to further style it. The layout, we can set it, and then after we do all this, then we can save. So once we save it, you see that the widget will be available here, and we can also add it to the blog page layout using the layout designer. So the last option, called settings, allows us to adjust the general settings of the blog posts section. So you see that we can set the default image size, category image size, description text limit, the category grid description word limit. We can also enable, this is where we can enable the comment section, the like, share, post section. We can also enable and disable the auto reviews and all that. So once we make adjustments to this page, we can go ahead and save it. So once we make the changes we've made here will be reflected in the blog section here. Okay. So this is an example on how we can use the blog section. So the next section we are going to look at, which is called the HTML content section. This is a very important section because it allows us to create HTML content that can be imported into the storefront page design. So let's go ahead and open it. You see that in the HTML advanced content, you can see we have sample contents that were created when we imported the electronic templates as our store theme. So we can further adjust any of these HTML contents by clicking the edit with page builder option, or we can edit the meta content of each of the options here. So let's say, for example, we want to adjust the footer, that's this content we have in the footer section. We come here because we've set the footer design, set this HTML content as our footer design. So what we do next is we come here, we click on the edit with page builder, select language, select store. This is useful if we have multiple store, and then you click on the edit button here. So clicking on that will open the page builder. Now you see that once the page builder opens, this is the content. As you can see, this is the content of our footer, which is visible in the storefront. So the page builder allows us to adjust the content in real time. So we have various widgets that we can add into the content using this section. So you see we have general widgets, basic widgets, and then advanced widgets. So let's say we want to change the logo that is here into our store logo. We come here, we select it. So once you select it, you see that the page builder will load the widget settings for that specific active widget. So once we select the widget, we have the option to adjust the widget using the settings here. So each widget has 3 sections that you can adjust. The first section is the content section. So this is where we can adjust the content settings. The second section, called the style, allows us to adjust the widget design style using all the options here. Then the last section called advanced allows us to make advanced changes to the widget. So for example, as we said, we want to change the logo content. So we go to the content section. You see where it says choose image, select it. Come here, we pick this as our logo. Let's say we pick the Invotide logo. So once you add it, you see that the change we made has been adjusted in real time. So if we're okay with this change, we can proceed to also adjust the text message. So if we want to change this message, we select it. You see that it has opened the text widget. So once we open it, we can come here. We say this is a test Invotide store. All right. So any changes you make is always being updated in real time, as you can see. We can also remove any of the sections. Let's say if we don't want this social media icon section, we can highlight it and then right click it and click on the delete option. So once you delete it, the widget will be deleted. We can also do the same for this. So you see that it's very easy to use the page builder to adjust the HTML content. So after we have made the changes, we can proceed to view these changes in different view by selecting these options. So once we are okay with it, we go ahead and save. So now that we've saved, if we come back to the storefront, we refresh the page, you see that the content has been updated. All right. So we can add additional widget. Let's say we want to add a widget to this page. So we can do that. Let's say we add this here. And then let's say we want to add the image box widget. So we drag it into this place. So once we drag it there, you see that it has been added. So the next thing we do is we can proceed to, let's say we add this as the image. Okay. Change the text. Let's say test header. Call this is a test image widget. All right. Image module, sorry. And then we save. So once we save, if we come back to the storefront and refresh the page, you see that the new content has been added there. So we can proceed to delete this by right clicking and then we delete it. So once we delete again, we save. All right. So I'll now proceed to explain the various sections of this page builder in details. So as I said earlier, this is where we can select modules that will add to the page design. This bottom section allows us to either exit from the page builder using this button. This button allows us to hide this section. This button allows us to view the history of changes we've made. So if we want to revert back to a previous change, note that as we are adjusting the page, the history here, the revision will be added. Each change we make will be saved as a point that we can go back to using this section. So this is the button we use to access this section. The next section here allows us to open the storefront page. So it allows us to view the actual page that we are editing. While this save button allows us to save changes that we've made while adjusting the page design. At the top here, we have the option to go back to the module section by clicking this button, which will allow us to now add new modules to the page. All right. Then this section allows us to see we can adjust the color between dark and light color. We can also view the various modules that we are using. See how we can do that using this button. We can also open the navigator to see the various sections we have, right? And then we can adjust the page, can zoom in and zoom out using these buttons. All right. We can expand the view. All right. We can change the page view. This is the mobile view, the tablet view, and then the desktop view. So this helps if you are making a responsive design to the page. We can export and import the template. So for example, we make a change, we can export it. So let's say we call this test and then click OK. So it has been saved. We can always import it back, as you can see here. So if we click on this, we can load it back. We say yes, and then it will be loaded back. So you see that the design will be loaded back. All right, so you can come back here and delete. All right, so this just helps to keep track of the changes that we've made to the page. So these are just examples of how you can, use the various sections of the premium theme page builder. So after you've made all the changes you want to make, take note that you can exit the page builder by clicking the exit button here, and then clicking this will exit the page builder, and then we come back to the actual edit page of the HTML content. So this is where we can set the module name, adjust if we want it to show for all the stores, or want to enable or disable it. So if we save this, it will take us back to the advanced content page. So we can always go back to that page I just saved by clicking this edit button, as you can see here. But if we want to make the actual design adjustments, we must click the edit with page builder option. All right. So as I said, we can also add new HTML contents. If we want to do that, we just come here. We say this is a test HTML content. Select the store, enable it, and save. So once we save, you see that it's here. The next thing we do is we proceed to design it. All right. So let's say, for example, we just want to add. So we type image here. So we just want to add the image. Before you can add, we choose the grid, and then we add the module. So after we add it, so we select the image, we leave the text, and then save. So once we save this, let's say we exit, save this, we can use this HTML content as our storefront footer section. To do that, let's go back to the premium theme settings section. We select general settings. All right. So in the general settings, we select footer. We make sure that the advanced HTML content is selected. So when we select this option, you see that the new HTML content we created is available here. So we can select it and save. So once we save, if we come back to this section and refresh the page, you see that this footer section will be updated. So let's go ahead and refresh it. So you can see that our footer section is now showing as the HTML contents that we just created. So if we want to change it back, we choose the footer design option, this one, and then we save. So coming back here, if we refresh the page, so you see that it has gone back. So this is basically what you use the HTML content for. So in addition to using it as our footer, we can also use it in the mega menu section. So let's say, for example, we open the mega menu. So we want to set it as a drop down for this test menu. So we come here, select the HTML content. So you see that in the list, we have the one we just created. We select it, we save. So after we save the menu, if we come back and refresh the page, you see that a drop down menu will show here. So let's refresh it. So you see the drop down will show the HTML content that we created. So if we come back and come here and select none and save, so you see that it has been deactivated. So this is an example on how you can use the HTML content to add to your storefront design. So this option called pages allows us to add custom pages to the storefront. So let's go ahead and open it. So currently you see the list of active pages we have. We have the home page, the about us page, coming soon, delivery policy, privacy policy, terms of service. So let's say we want to open the about us page. So if we come to the storefront, open the about us page here. All right, so you can see this is the about us page. So if we come here and we want to edit the design of this page, we select the edit with page builder option, choose the language, choose the store, and click on the edit button. So this will launch the page builder. So you see that in the page builder interactive interface, we can see a preview of the about us page. That's this page here. So we have the option to add additional modules to this page or adjust the existing module. So if we go ahead and click on this highlight, you see that it will load the text module settings here. So if we want to change this right up, we can just come here and type this is a test about us page. All right, so doing that, you see that it has been adjusted. So if we go to the style section, we can change, let's say we change the text color. So you see it's now red. Then under the advanced section, as I said, we can make advanced settings. Let's say we want to change the background color, to black. We can do that using this section. All right. So this is just an example on how you can use the storefront pages. All right. So let's proceed. So you see that once we exit the page builder, it shows us the edit page for the actual page. So if we want to open this page, remember we can come here and click on the edit button here. So this is the page. So here we can set the page title, meta details, We can also adjust the data section. We can add custom CSS. We can add custom JavaScript to the page. We can also adjust the colors and then make further adjustments using the details section. So once we make all the adjustments, we save. So we also have the option to add new pages. So if we want to add a new page, we click on the add button. So we can call this, let's say, test page. Put the meta title as text page. So we leave this, we take this, set the order number, we leave the CSS JavaScript section. We are not going to hide the breadcrumb section. We will not hide the header or the footer. So once we make all the changes we want here, we save. So you see that the new page is now active. So we can proceed to set the page design by clicking on the edit with page builder button. So once we do that, we can add any of these modules into the page. Okay. So remember that you must always save after you make changes. And before you add a module, you must choose the grid type that you want to use. So let's proceed. So we can adjust the home page design if we want to change our home page settings by selecting the edit with page builder. So this will allow us to view the home page. As you can see, this is the store home page here. So remember, all these sections are editable. So we cannot edit the header, but we can edit any of the contents here. So let's say we want to remove this content. You can just come here, click on this, right? And if we don't want to remove everything here, we just click on the X button. This will delete it. So we can adjust, let's say we want to adjust this. Remember, the module setting will always show here to allow us to edit the content, the style, and the advanced setting. All right. So we can do the same for this. We can rearrange this. So if we want to bring this up here, we select this plus sign, we drag it up to this section. So you see that once we finish dragging it, it will come up and this will be at the bottom. We can do that for any of these sections if we want to change the position. So to add a new module, remember we click to go back to the module list page and then select the grid type. So if we want to add a text, select the text option. Say this is a test content. All right. So after adding it, you have the option to change the style. So we can change the font size, we can reduce it or increase it. All right. So we can change the font color. So let's say we make it purple. All right. So once we make all these adjustments, remember we have to save it. If we don't save it, it will not show in the store front end. So this is just an example on how you can adjust the home page using the page builder. All right. So take note that you can delete any of these pages if you don't want it. So if you want to delete this, just come here. We click on the delete button here. All right. So let's proceed. So the last section here called the layout section allows us to adjust the storefront page layout. So if we open this, you see that we have the option to adjust any of the listed page layout, so we can add and remove modules that are going to show in any of these pages. Okay. So once we do that, we must always save the layout to ensure that whatever changes we've made here will be visible in the storefront. So this is an example on how we can use the premium theme settings section to set up and adjust your storefront theme settings. So if you no longer want to use the premium theme and you want to go back to using the standard theme, for you to do that, you navigate to the store management section, select settings, select stores, and in the general settings section of the store, you change this from premium to standard. So if you don't make this change, let's say for example, we go back to the theme settings section, you notice that if you want to edit any of the standard theme, let's say we open this, you see that we will not be able to edit it because we are currently not using the standard theme. So we must change the theme settings back to the standard theme to be able to use the standard theme as our storefront theme. So let's go ahead and change it. So to do that, we come to stores, and then under general, change this to standard and save. So now that we've made this change, if we go to the theme settings section, select themes, and then if we choose the edit button for the standard theme, you see that we now have the option to adjust the theme. So coming back here, and if we select the storefront page, you see that our theme will now be using, the storefront will now be using the standard theme. So we have the option to adjust the theme. So if we want to add, let's say we want to add modules to the home page, proceed to the home page section. Let's say we want to add let's add the product tab. Make sure that it's enabled and save. So once we add it, so if we refresh the storefront, you see that the new module we added is now active here. So what this means is that we are no longer using the premium theme. So if we go back to the theme settings and try to edit the premium theme, you see that we'll be prompted to change the store general settings theme to the premium theme. So if we change it back to the premium theme, let's go back to settings, stores. So under this general settings, if we change it back to premium theme and save, coming back to the themes section, if we click on the edit button under the premium theme, you see that we can now gain access to the premium theme settings. So if we also check the storefront section, if we refresh the page, all right, you see that our storefront theme has now been updated back to the premium theme. So this is an example on how you can set up the premium theme and adjust the various design options so as to customize the look of your storefront. Thank you for watching.